I grew up in the small town of Quarryville in southern Lancaster County. I remember being a little girl running around in pigtails, playing Barbies with my younger sister. Then fast forward to sixth grade. Sixth grade was a difficult year for me. I like to call them part of my awkward years. I was overweight and struggled with self-esteem issues and was bullied a lot by kids in my school. Between 7th and 8th grade, the bullying continued off and on, but I started to feel better about myself. In May 2011, when I was 12, I had to leave during my softball game to play violin in my orchestra concert. Our team won, so after the concert, I met my team at Maplehoff, which is a local store known for its chocolate milk and ice cream. That's when my friend introduced her mentor and her father figure, Mike, to my mom. He said that it was important for him to meet her friends and their parents before that she could hang out with them. He also mentioned that he was a police officer and firefighter and was very protective. My mom said that she seemed to understand his concern and appreciated him for taking out the time to introduce himself to her. That is when it began. Mike entered my life and took control. It seemed like in a very short period of time, he controlled my every thought and action. He told me later that he was at my orchestra concert and asked if I believed in love at first sight. He said the first moment he saw me, he knew he instantly fell in love with me. He started texting me very frequently about a week after I first met him. And after I received his text message, he told me to delete the message, and I did. He also would buy me clothes and undergarments and different things that my parents wouldn't buy for me. One day, I was invited to my friend's house, who lived with her grandmother, and her and her grandmother got into a fight, so she called Mike. Mike picked us up and then took us to his house. And that is when I was introduced to his girlfriend, Angela, who I was instructed to call her Miss Angela, her two kids, Allie and Robert, and his son, Mikey. For the rest of the evening, we played Dance Central on the Xbox and watched movies in the basement. That night, we never went back to my friend's house and ended up spending the night at Mike's in the basement. In the middle of the night, Mike woke me up and told me that he needed to speak with me. That night was the first night Michael Archaki molested me by taking off my clothes, taking pictures of my naked body, and taking advantage of me. After he was done, he spanked me on the butt and sent me back down the basement where my friends were sleeping. My parents never knew that I spent the night at Mike's house. He told me that if I were to tell them, that they would be mad and to just keep it our little secret. Over the next weeks, they started attending our church, helped my mom with Bible school, and even attended my sister's baptism. Mike would continue to text me, but when our families were together, things were fine and he acted normal. In July 2011, Mike and Angela came over to my parents' house and set them aside and shared that a fellow police officer was making fake allegations against Mike for inappropriately touching his daughter. My parents seemed very concerned and cautious. So they asked me if Mike ever did anything to me, and I said no. By the end of July, my parents said that there were too many red flags and forbade me to have contact with Mike or his family. And as August approached, my parents asked Mike to stay away from my 13th birthday party, but would allow Angela and the kids to come. At my party, we had a slip and slide, and as I was sliding down the slip and slide, Angela took out her camera and was sending pictures of me in my bathing suit to Mike. Later during the party, Angela pulled me aside and said that she had a surprise for me and that it was going to be waiting out in the driveway. And that is where I opened up the door and I saw Mike standing in the driveway with an 8-foot teddy bear. My parents were furious. My mom emailed Mike the next day and told him that he was banned from having contact with me or our family. On August 17th, my actual birthday, I found out that Mike was starting to text my best friend. And I started to become scared because I didn't want anything to happen to her. So when my friend and I were alone, I told her a little bit of what Mike did to me and asked if I should tell my parents. And I am forever grateful that she said yes. So I took my mom up to my room and told her 6 words that changed my life forever. He did it to me too. I will never forget the look on my mom's face. It was horrifying. But she said the most important words that you can tell any sexual abuse survivor. I believe you. That night is when the initial report was made. And as the legal process continued, normal teen life, whatever that looked like, started to resume. I would love to tell you that my road to healing has been easy. I would love to tell you that after I told my mom that I was molested, that everything was okay. I knew in my head that I did the right thing, but all I could see was the pain around me. I felt exposed, embarrassed, and ashamed. I felt like I brought on this pain to my family. Kids made fun of me at school. Kids and even some adults didn't believe me and thought that I was doing it for attention. For a while, my parents were even afraid to leave me by myself because I self-harmed and was suicidal. So after a few weeks of 8th grade, my parents pulled me out of school and enrolled me into cyber school so I could focus more on my counseling appointments and the legal appointments that I would have for the rest of the year. Here's the hard truth. If you don't deal with it, if you don't talk about it, and if you don't acknowledge it, it can and will own you. I've made it a point to share my story with whoever will listen, to encourage other survivors to seek hope, to find their voice, and to become whole again. You never think something bad is going to happen to you, to your family, to your community, until it does. Today, I am a strong woman. I took back my life and my future that I thought was once robbed of me. I continued on with my education like I always wanted to. I'm in a healthy relationship like I always hoped to have. I have a successful business like I always dreamed of. But most importantly, I am on a continuous journey of loving myself. I don't believe the road to healing will ever be over for me. In each new chapter and phase of life, I will continue to experience and have to work through my abuse in different ways. It's safe to say that I will never forget my abuse, but I am hopeful for my life and for my future. My name is Kayla Schneider, and I am a child sexual abuse survivor.